For joining us here at 6 o'clock. If you're waking up in the West Metro, take a look at your screen. Heavier rainfall is expected throughout the day, and then later today it's going to make its way towards the Twin Cities Metro. So plan accordingly for that. But right now things are dry,
which is good to see, John. Usually around this time of year we're dealing with snow.
Yes, well, you got to expect rain this year. It's been so warm. I keep waiting to turn the page. Once we turn it below average, it's active. I mean, it's active right now. We're talking about more rain coming in here. Now, it depends on where you live. Today, we're really divided. Sometimes I can do a blanket forecast, like we're all the same. Not today. Heavy rain expected in Alexandria, Brainerd, St. Cloud. Not the Twin Cities this morning, kiddos, parents. Mainly a dry drive-in to work here. 41 in Brainerd, 40 in St. Cloud. You got 43 down in Marshall. Notice where it's warmer? It's actually where it's raining. Clouds are thicker there. We've got the winds with it. And you can see there is quite a bit of rain. It's just going to be this pipeline of moisture coming in from southern Minnesota all the way up towards the Brainerd Lakes area. It's close to the cities. We'll track this whole thing out for you in your forecast. Cece, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Seeing this crash pop up a few minutes ago, 694 eastbound. It's at the exit ramp to turn on to East River Road. The ramp does look blocked for now. Just be aware of that as you travel through the Brooklyn Center area. It looks like an ambulance just showed up too. I'll let you know how that situation kind of progresses and when it clears. Otherwise, things looking pretty good across the metro. I'll have more updates for you when I see you next. Alicia.
Thank you, Cece. Our top story this morning: over the next 24 hours, the balance of power at the state capitol could start to shift.
Yeah, right now there are 2 House races still undecided and heading for a recount. Audrey Russo joins us in studio this morning. And Audrey, one of those undecided seats is in District 54A. That's in the Shakopee area.
Yeah, and certainly the residents there are going to be watching this closely. 22,000 ballots cast in this race, and they can't even begin to start the recount until the first round's official results are certified. That is happening today. So what happened here is that the Scott County election officials rescanned some ballots due to a ballot machine malfunction. Now, that rescan put DFL incumbent Brad Tapke ahead of Republican challenger Aaron Paul by just 14 votes. Now, that margin of victory is lower than 0.5%. So what that means is that taxpayers are on the hook for paying for this recount. So Shakopee's going to have to wait a little bit longer to find out exactly who's representing them at the state capitol for the upcoming session. Now, neither party considers this area a lock, as over the past 10 years or so, the seat has flip-flopped between Republican and Democratic control. Back to you.
Audrey, thank you. Now, the other race headed for a recount is House District 14B in St. Cloud. Initially, DFL incumbent Dan Wolgamott came out on top by just 191 votes over Republican challenger Sue Eck. But Sherburne County revealed a defective memory card did not fully collect the results from some mail-in ballots, so they will recount by hand and cover the costs. The recount could start after the state canvassing board meets to certify the results on November 21st.
In a matter of hours, President-elect Donald Trump will head to Washington to meet with President Joe Biden at the White House. They'll discuss a peaceful transfer of power from one administration to the next. This all comes as Trump continues to build his cabinet for his second turn as president. One surprising choice here: he tapped Fox News host and Forest Lake native Pete Hegseth to serve as Secretary of Defense. An Army veteran, he served in Afghanistan and Iraq and was an informal advisor during Trump's first presidency. Hegseth graduated from Forest Lake High School and ran in the Republican primary to represent Minnesota in the U.S. Senate back in 2012. As for some other key roles here, Trump plans to nominate South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem for Homeland Security Secretary. And tech billionaire Elon Musk and conservative Vivek Ramaswamy will head up a new Department of Government Efficiency. We're going to have much more on this story coming up in 30 minutes.
As several businesses close their doors in Brooklyn Park, the people who live and work there are looking for some answers.
Michelle Beck is live in Brooklyn Park this morning to explain. Good morning, Michelle.
Yeah, good morning to you, Jason, Alicia. As you can see around me, there's a lot of retail space here in the blocks surrounding West Broadway and Brooklyn Boulevard. I'm at the Cub right now, which you can see, according to the sign, is now permanently closed. Take a look at what remains of the inside here. Look at all those empty shelves. This Cub right here will mark another closure and another reason the city wants to talk with the community. Just in the last couple of months, signs have come down and doors have locked for good at about 5 businesses businesses around this intersection, according to the city. And that is what the Brooklyn Parks Community Development Director told me as he gears up for an open forum tonight at 6. City leaders already have some ideas in mind, like adding drive-thrus to restaurants and turning old big box stores into smaller retail spaces.
Anytime we have a cluster of vacancies, we are concerned, and then we do work to kind of partner with the businesses, the property owners to fill those spaces. We can't require that businesses stay in those spaces, but we can do a better job of amplifying those opportunities, those real estate listings, our financial incentives. So yes, it is a concern today, but we certainly see a bright future for that node as well.
And city leaders say they are preparing to talk about public safety at tonight's forum about these closures. Coming up in the next half hour, we'll talk about why crime is relevant at all when it comes to these closures. Jason, Alicia.
Michelle, thank you for that. Now to a story that's been developing for the last 24 hours. A second person has been arrested and charged after a mass shooting more than a year ago. The shooting happened outside the Minneapolis market on Franklin Avenue, injuring at least 9 people. According to court documents, the 18-year-old suspect was arrested on a weapons charge. He was 17 when the shooting happened and is charged in that case as a juvenile. Prosecutors say they intend to have him tried as an adult. The suspect is due back in court next month.
This morning, Minneapolis police have a new plan to handle neighbor disputes in the city. This all comes after a recent dispute that led to Minneapolis resident Davis Maturi being allegedly shot by his neighbor. Officers say they receive more than 2,000 neighbor and tenant complaints a year. Chief O'Hara says it's a lot for his officers to handle, so they're reviewing partnerships with community groups like the NAACP to intervene before things turn violent.
You got social workers, you got community crime prevention, you got community engagement, you got the inspectors. There's so many different arms to this that will allow us to impact the community effectively.
Residents who are dealing with a neighbor dispute can still call Minneapolis police for help. They can also call the NAACP and other partnering groups who can assign a mediator to the case.
If you live in St. Paul and need help paying for rent, listen to this. In about 2 hours, the city's public housing agency will start accepting applications for its voucher program. From the applications, 1,200 people will be randomly chosen for placement on the voucher waiting list. They'll begin accepting applications online at 8 this morning, but that window will close at the end of day on November 19.
Just over a month after the Minnesota Twins announced they're for sale, we're learning about another big shakeup within the organization.
Good morning, I'm Danny Spiewak. There's going to be a big reshuffling in the leadership of the Minnesota Twins.